Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing well.
Japan.
And Brian, our special guest, man, how you doing?
It's good. It's 9 a.m. It's time for me. It's just getting this day started. I'm a little late. Got my cup of coffee. I'm very, very stoked to be on panel with you guys. I love the Northern Revolution show. Don't let me sort of blow too much steam in your guys' way, but I like the show. I love the vibe here, and I love the deep musical appreciation. And yeah, so it's a very big honor to be here. Nice to see you guys.
Well,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You and I chatted a few times wanting to do this. I'm a big fan of your channel too. I watch all your stuff, and it's
thank you.
It's good, man. You just you bring a little something different to the table, and I love your appreciation for music. So it's good that we could coordinate, with the time change and all that kind of stuff, that you could be here. This is cool.
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And let me put this out there sorry to interrupt. Let me just put it out there real quick. So my grandfather is from, so you guys are all in the Great White North, right? You guys are all
correct.
North of the border, right? And
Yep.
hold on, just forgive me. Like, I may not know every detail. Remind me where you guys are. Rob, you're in Toronto, right?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay. And what about Joe and Daryl? Where are you guys? Remind me, please.
Yeah, I'm in Regina, so Saskatchewan.
Regina.
Prairies in the middle-ish. Okay. Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm in Ontario, but far north in Ontario.
Okay. So you guys are kind of spread across the nation almost. Yeah. All right. That's exciting. Yeah. So my grandfather, I just want to put this out there because I have some reason, some interest to be here. My grandfather was from a small town outside of Winnipeg called Souris, and he moved to the States when he was about, I think, real young, like 21. And he met somebody. He was in journalism, and he met somebody, and I think he promised his grandmother, or he promised his mother, that he would never become a U.S. citizen. So he lived like from 21 to 95 in the States, but he never had a U.S. passport. And we're very proud of our Davenports and our Chesterfields and our serviettes and these kinds of things. At my house, we eat persimmons, and we do a couple of Canada things at our house that we really love. And I'm a little bit proud to brag that I'm a quarter Canadian. So I feel like I'm among a little bit of kindred spirits. It's a homecoming of sorts.
Love it. Well, welcome home, man. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Who's watching here? Richard, how you doing, sir? Alex, I think it's 9 a.m. your time, right, Brian?
It's 9 a.m. It's not ridiculous. No.
There you go. Tim, how you doing? Everyone, we've got a special episode with Tim coming up in a couple weeks, so just keep your eyes and ears out for that.
We've got old hosts, we've got current guests, we've got future guests. It's awesome. Everybody's in.
From down under, how you doing, sir?
Keith?
Vaginal, how you doing? Welcome. Oh, it's this guy. So the most important thing, as we're all watching this tonight, I'm busy hosting this, so I'm going to rely on the people in the comments to tell me when my Canadians are winning, because we're facing elimination tonight. So if anyone has a score update for the hockey game, just let me know in the comments.
No more brawls as of late, eh? Now they're actually just playing because they can't afford to screw around. They got to play some hockey now, right?
And I'll probably cry at the end when we lose and get eliminated. So don't turn on the Jays game. Vagina will always ask me for my Jays thoughts. It's a shit show. That's all I'm going to say. That team.
Yeah. But the catch was worth it. So if nothing else, we have the one highlight catch of the year. Varsho in the outfield. You see that? That was pretty outstanding.
Fell down, tumbled, and caught up behind his back. That was fantastic.
Yeah, fell down, rolled around, and then went, I got it still. And then got up like it was nothing. But it is, I guess. Yeah.
It's about the only highlight of the Toronto Blue Jays. So, Record Hound, how you doing? So everyone having a good week. Daryl's got a shitty snowstorm up there, and I'm wearing shorts down here. So what's it like in Tokyo, Brian?
It's perfect. It's like the post Sakura cherry blossom season. The petals have all sort of had their ephemeral fleeting beauty of falling off the trees, and it's blue sky, like perfect spring weather, and the summer awaits. What's that what's the Game of Thrones, the winter, what's the ominous winter
The
quote?
winter is coming.
Winter is
The
coming.
summer is coming. We say in Japan, the summer is coming. It's about to come and oppress us all. So we're enjoying a little short season of respite. In Japan, they have 72, they call them micro seasons. And every little micro seasons is associated with a particular food or a particular insect that comes in or whatever it might be. So yeah, I don't know which micro season we're in, but it's beautiful spring weather right now.
Is that why Metallica called it 72 seasons? Is that why? I don't know that.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
72. Yeah. Very much possibility.
Summer is coming for the Habs. Yeah, it is. I know, Rhino. It's a shame. Do your summers there get stinking hot like ours do?
Oh my God, it's brutal. But it's got to be. My mother came and she fainted on the street once. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm originally from Oklahoma. Spent 10 years in Colorado before I came here. But Oklahoma summers are miserable and probably not unlike yours. They're like gorgeous spring and summers, and then like miserable summers and winters. Not quite miserable, but the heat, you can't escape it in the shade here.
Right.
You just can't go sit under a tree. It pulverizes you, and you can't take off any more layers. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's like Vietnam, it's Asia hot.
Yeah.
I have never been to Japan, but I've been to Oklahoma once. I went to a town called El Reno.
Oh gosh, I don't even know El Reno. But
It's,
you can sing the Three Dog Night lyric. I've been to Oklahoma. There's a lyric in.
Right.
I
guess it's about 45 minutes northwest of Oklahoma City.
Okay, that's not far. Okay, I'm northeast. Tulsa. I'm from Tulsa. Yeah, northeast is Tulsa. Northwest is out in the middle, kind of you're getting out into cow land.
It looked like the middle of nowhere. Like it looked like Saskatchewan, where you could watch your dog run away for a week.
But I tell you, like Hokkaido, the North Island of Japan, it's broad, right? And Tokyo is so tall, and when I get out into a landscape like a Saskatchewan or like an Oklahoma or like a Hokkaido, and you get this like giant, huge sky, where the sunset lasts for like 3 hours, and it makes you miss home a lot. So yeah,
we don't have the ocean and we don't have the mountains, but we do have, especially in the fall when the wheat fields are the right height and they're flowing in a little bit of breeze. That's our ocean, and Saskatchewan's actually called the land of living skies because that's it. I mean, there's critters up there, and there's everything going on up there, including the Northern Lights and all of that. So yeah, there's something to be said for I think a lot of people kind of shit on Saskatchewan a little bit, actually most of the prairies as they drive through, because the Trans-Canada takes you from A to B. If you just go off just a little bit, there's some pretty nice stuff. So you just have to get off the Trans-Canada a little bit. So
Joe, you just got to keep telling them there's nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Nothing to see here. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Passing through.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you, Joe, but my grandfather was from Saskatchewan. There's a little town, I think it's sort of south of you, I think, called Eatonia. It's named after Timothy Eaton from the Eaton Company. So he was born there because my great-grandparents were homesteaders. So when they had the free land grants in the 20s, they went out there and built the sod hut and started a homestead, and lasted 20 years, and they hauled ass back to Ontario. So
I think maybe we've been there. When we would go camping, we would do a lot of going to little towns and going to their museums and stuff like that. It was always very cool. I saw a great quote the other day. Field trips are wasted on kids. Wouldn't it be the best if you could take the day off and go and learn about an old wood mill or things like that? I thought that's a perfect quote, because I'd be all down for that, right? And the kids are like, who gives a shit? So yeah. So I mean, Daryl is the perfect one to discuss how kids could not care rat's ass sometimes on field trips, and or do though. I think you had the big field trip this year, and I think everybody had a pretty good time on that one. No,
well, there was one that missed.
Yeah, no, they were really good, except for, like I said, there was a couple of girls. One of them went a little overboard, but they were really good when we went to Spain. Considering, I mean, we're in a remote town where there is no highway in and out of here. It's quite remote. We headed out on the train, then we flew to Toronto, then we flew to Germany, then we flew to Spain. Right. So for kids that are from a town of 2,000 people going all the way there, I mean, I knew something was going to happen. I just was hoping that she would keep it to herself and not involve everybody else. But hey, but it was great. And
what exactly happened? You've got me. My curiosity piques.
Yeah,
or maybe don't disclose it. Maybe no. Maybe it's like a student-teacher confidentiality.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like lawyer privilege.
That's the kind of thing that teenagers often do on trips.
Okay.
In a hotel room that they shouldn't be doing.
Right. Fine.
I got to imagine, Daryl, because of how remote you are, some of these kids probably have never left home, right?
I polled a class the other day asking them because so last Friday we had this presenter talking about careers and all this kind of stuff. And all they kept talking about was the GTA. And I'm looking at my students and some of them are they got their heads down, and I didn't even bother telling them to stop doing it because I'm like, they have no idea what's in Toronto. Right. And so anyway, I polled them the other day to ask them how many of them have been to Timmins more than twice in their life. And I kid you not, in a class of 16, at least 6 of them did not raise their hands.
Holy shit.
And Timmins is literally a train ride and an hour drive away. So for them to come in and out of here, there's a lot of them that don't. Yeah, it would. And if they've ever transferred from some of the reserves up north, then that's a legit thing. They've never been to Toronto. They've never been to North Bay. The furthest they've probably been is here. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of crazy, unless they're going to a hockey tournament in Timmins.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And I think the reason that we don't typically have too many problems when we leave, if we're on a field trip, is because they don't know how to get in trouble in a place that they really shouldn't be getting in trouble in. So it's kind of a good thing.
That's fair. Yeah.
You got to breed a little recklessness into them, you know? They need a little insubordination.
What's really funny is we run these trips, and one of the kids asked me, "Are you going to run the trip next year?" And I was like, "No, I'm done running the trip for a few years." And they were like, "We should plan a trip to Japan." And I'm like, I can't. You guys were complaining about the 7-hour flight from Toronto to Spain. I can't even imagine you kids being in a flight for 15 hours, 16 hours or longer. So, but it's funny where they want to go. But the reality is would we ever go to Japan? I don't know. I'd be up for it, but
come.
I'd be up for it too. Yeah.
Brian will be your tour guide. He'll hook you up.
Yeah, I'd love to come. I know some schools that are, there's heaps of them, but like I do actually know some acquaintances, friends who are bringing students to and fro. So if you're somewhat serious about it, reach out and I don't, who knows, maybe we can connect some dots and something can happen. Make a trip of a lifetime for those students.
It would be.
Ryan thought you were up in northern Alberta for some reason. Ryan, he's up northern Ontario, up around James Bay. So pretty damn remote. Next door to Santa Claus.
That's right. You can wave at him. I can watch my dog run away, and Daryl can wave at Santa.
And I'm that asshole.
It is river breakup season here right now.
Yeah.
It's what?
It's breakup season here right now. So that means you physically cannot go across the river, because if you did, you'd drown.
Well, you got to share with everyone the naked guy on the ice.
Yeah. So there's a guy that I taught here about 18 or 20 years ago. And so when the river breaks up, the ice breaks into these big chunks and stuff. But the further south you go down the river, it opens up into water. So where his hunting camp is and stuff like that, it's all opened up now. So we had his canoe in the river. But what happened was there was a piece of ice apparently that was stuck to the bottom of his canoe, and when it broke off, apparently the weight distribution of his canoe, it was just way off, and he went into the river. And because his hip waders and his jacket and everything were soaking wet in the cold water, it was pulling him under. He said it actually in a thing, he was under the water for a minute.
Jesus.
And so he had to take everything off because he ended up climbing up on a piece of ice and he was naked, pretty much naked. He managed to salvage some of his equipment, and apparently his cell phone was still working. So he called his wife and said, "You need to get the fire department and the rescue team here and now." And he was on a 20 by 20 piece of ice for 4.5 hours naked until they could get to him.
Wow.
And yesterday's weather was freezing rain and about -3, between 3 and -3 Celsius.
Hopefully, if any frostbite, it was only in fingers and toes, nothing else that was exposed.
Right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Have to rub it to keep it warm, I guess.
That's right. No, I'm just trying to keep it warm. Just don't want a frostbite.
Yeah, exactly.
So I ask this every week, Joe, how's things going at the record store?
Going well. I was not there today. I kind of try and take Wednesdays off. It's my get other stuff done day as well as get ready for this evening. And but it's been good. It continues. There's new people continue to come in. There was a guy that was in today. I can kind of see what's going on online. Bought another 30 albums out of that not even all of that same collection. What's been nice is that the collection has brought a bunch of new people in, but they've looked through a bunch of it as well as our existing stock. We've got our 1-year anniversary coming up on May the 10th. We're going to be open that Saturday. Yeah, it's a year. Now, I don't know if we'd be around if we didn't have all the other parts and pieces of the shop to be there, because I mean we're doing okay, but it's a bit of a slog. These guys that run these places, they got to keep it pretty tight and sell a lot of records for sure. A higher appreciation for the used guys out there for sure after doing it. But yeah, a year in and got another 400 to go out. We're going to do some door prizes, some things like that. So it's been good. Thank you for asking, as you always do. I appreciate it.
Good. Well, you live the dream that some of us have, right? We're like, man,
yeah, and it's not lost on me for sure. It's not. Right. So because and people go, well, why do you want to stand there and clean records and sort records for 8 hours a day? I said, that's 8 hours isn't enough. Give me another 4 or 5. Right. Like,
I mean, I was talking with my wife last night. I mean, I work a corporate job, believe it or not, and I enjoy my corporate job insofar as, it's, if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it, but I do it because it pays the bills and feeds my family. But I said to my wife, man, if I didn't have to do this, if we were independently wealthy, I said, I would have a record store just as a hobby job, just so that I have something to do and something that I enjoyed. So,
What did she say to that?
She goes, that's fantastic. She goes, I'd open up a craft store next door. We'd have a little door between our 2 stores. I go, that's fantastic. Let's do it.
Perfect.
She didn't just shoot the idea down. She kind of got behind it a little bit.
She loves it because she likes records
promising.
too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, she likes records too. So
now just the independently wealthy part. That's all that's missing.
I think if I had a record store, I would be hard pressed to like sell anything. I would just be like, oh no, wait, I changed my mind. I changed my mind on that one.
Yeah,
that one's not going.
It doesn't come up very much, surprisingly. I've kept a couple of things, but really it's been a couple of things. And I looked the other day, so far in the system in the last year, between all the collections that we've bought, because I've got a specific Discogs just for the store, I've put in 8,000 albums. So
wow, in a year?
Yeah, in a year, yeah.
So wait, you haven't made 8,000 Discogs entries. You've used what's that metric exactly? 8,000.
Yeah, no, I've put.
You've made 8,000. Oh my god, dude! Thank you, thank you. You're working hard, not just for your local record community. You're working hard for all of us.
Yeah. Well, no, not new to Discogs. Sorry, I've cataloged 8,000 albums into Discogs. Yeah, there's been a few that I've had to add. There's been that, yes, but
right. Okay, no, I thought you added 8,000. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's a giant public service.
Yeah, exactly. Not quite,
I haven't done one. Has anybody else done a single one? Joe, you've done.
So, I think I've done 4 or 5. I think.
Oh, good on you guys. I'm too lazy.
Well, my OCD won't let me not do it, right? If I buy something for some like local indie artist, I'm like, I can't put it on the shelf till it's in Discogs. Well, there's no entry in Discogs. Shit, I got to make the entry because I want to put it in my shelf.
Good on you.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Let me say real quick, I want to get a refill on my coffee, so forgive me if I step away for a second. And also, I got to hard out a little bit. I know that we're going to go to like 11-ish, or we're going to go for so I may have to like split here. May not have the extra 10 minutes to go over if we happen, but I'm really excited to be here. Yeah,
it's all good. Grab your coffee, and then we'll start when you get back.
Okay.
So, what's Tim saying here? Tim's saying my wife would be all for the idea so that I can get rid of all my crap. So, to tease everyone that's watching, Tim, our wonderful friend that watches us every week, fellow Canadian, he has, we're going to call it an amazing talent for meeting musicians. He's met everybody, like literally everybody. So we're going to do an episode with him in a couple of weeks about some of his adventures and some of the folks we've met and whatever. But Tim had sent me a few videos of him flipping through records that he's had personally signed. Holy shit. It's all I can say.
Binful, eh? Yeah.
Oh my God. And the names of some of them are just like Springsteen, for example. So, pretty incredible stuff. So,
looking forward to that one. Looking forward to today, too, because we have a pretty decent concept going. Real quick, before we go, for those that are watching, I know it's late. If you're on the East Coast, if you're on the West Coast, it's not as bad. But after we're done, the next top of the hour, which should be 9 Central, 11 Eastern, and whatever the hell Pacific that is, the third edition of Racer Records Track Test. We've got 2 former returning champions, and we've got a new contender as well. It might we might have to call this one the grudge match between a couple of guys that have been on the show before. So that's coming up on my channel, Racer Records Track Test. The VC game show should be fun, I think, this evening.
Yeah, an hour after we're finished here. So
whatever the next top of the hour is. So
exactly. Okay, so the topic tonight, as you can see by the ticker there, you can never break the chain. A line from the Fleetwood Mac song, "The Chain." I had this stupid idea, fun idea, I don't know, depending on your perspective, that we were going to do something different. It's kind of just a different way to pull some random stuff, nothing thematic about this. So somebody, Joe, is going to start with a record. And whatever the title of that record is, whoever's going next has got to go pull an artist that either that album title starts with or that album title ends with, and that's going to be the next record that's shown. And we're going to just kind of go around the horn, and that's just kind of a different way for us to show some different stuff. And when Brian and I were talking last night, there's a Japanese game sort of along those lines.
That's right. There's a game in Japan that basically it's a beloved, game as ubiquitous as like rock, paper, scissors that people play. It's called Shiritori, and it's a game that you play while you're trying to pass time, like waiting in line for some long line where you just got to sit there and twiddle your
record
thumb.
Store day.
Yes. Yeah, the object of the game is to connect the next word with the last letter of the previous word. So if I should have pulled my examples up here, but like or what would be a good one? Like, let's just go with like sushi. Japanese letters are like the alphabet goes a, I, U, A, O, kaki, ku, ke, ko, sashi, su, se, so, tachi, tsu, se, to. That's the way the alphabet is. And so they all have this kind of diphthong-ish sort of, structure. And so like the end of the word sushi is not the letter I, it's actually the letter shi. So sushi. So then you have to pick another word that starts with shiritori, the name of this game. And then shiritori, D is the end of that letter. And anyway, you have to connect these words. And one special letter in the Japanese alphabet, sort of like an X or a Q or something, is the letter N or the letter M. And if you in lots of words end with the letter N or end with the letter M, and if you get going in a little game where you're rattling words off, wabi sabi, and if you suddenly blurt out a word that without really thinking too far ahead that ends with N or M, you lose the game. So it's just a fun little game that people play. And yeah, when Rob suggested this idea of you can never break the chain, I was like, oh, we have something like that in Japan. It's perfect. It's perfectly appropriate. So I'm excited. Yeah, I will make I will put something out there. I know that like lots of we think that there should be a record that starts with any. There should be an infinite amount of answers, but having played this game for many, many years, you find out that there's lots of words that end with O's or with A's or with B's, and there's not so many words that begin with Z's or Q's or whatever. So we may get a little bit stuck at a couple of points, and I would encourage everybody to get imaginative about how this break the chain games. Grant us a little bit of creative license, Rob, please.
Absolutely.
We need it.
I always say there's no rules here. We're just here having fun. So Joe's going to go first because he has pulled the one record we want to start with. So I'm going to make you big here, Joe.
Okay.
And you're off to the races, man. And so the next person, do you want to go next, Brian, or do you want to go next, Daryl?
How about you? You're out, Daryl. You're on the top. I'm out here. Well, let's just go. Shall we go around this? Does it matter?
Sure.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Let's do that.
Daryl, you go next.
So Daryl, me, then Brian. All right. So
okay.
Ahead,
we used to play something like this too on road trips, except it was geographical. So you would say a city, and then you'd have to start a city. Anyway, so we're going to start with Because You Can Never Break the Chain is on this album, and it is Fleetwood Mac Rumors. So for those that weren't paying attention the first time, we're not looking for something that starts with F. We're not looking for something that starts with a C. It's the name of the album, but then that's the next artist. So it goes album, artist, right? So as Rob said, you can go with, because we'll go with first or last, because it'll keep it simple. There's a lot of S's. So if you want, you can go with an S or you can go with an R. I know I wasn't really pointing at the R, but we all know what the R's and the S's look like. So now we need an artist, right? That starts with either R or S.
Exactly.
So Daryl's going to go. I don't know how much more we need to say about this album. I think this album comes up every time we talk every Wednesday. For some way, it makes its way in. Female singers, singer-songwriters, albums you should own, all that stuff. So Fleetwood Mac Rumors, albums that if you had 1,000 of them in your record store, you would sell 1,000 of them probably in a month. It just comes in and it goes out right away. So did we decide, is Daryl going or is Brian going
next?
So wait, Daryl's now, just so I'm clear on the rules. Now, since you showed the album, it's Rumors, so it's got to be, that's the name of the album. So now you have to pick an artist. Is that right?
Right. Because it's easier to go find it. It's easier to go pull an artist than trying to find an album that starts with R. You could just go to your R section.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, forgive me if I've
so here we go, Joe. This is an album you talked about Rumors that if you had 1,000 of them in your store, they'd be sold out within a month. This is another example of this. Now, before we get started here, I know there's a whole pile of controversy. I know ABC Steve, he's got his way of alphabetizing and sorting through. I organize my records that the last name of the musician is how I alphabetize. So it's not the first name, it's the last name.
Well, that's the correct way.
I'm picking Bruce Springsteen and his album Born to Run. So
fair enough.
Pick a band with the letter N or B, I guess. But yeah, no, this is a great album. Born to Run is a fantastic song. It's another one of these albums that we've talked about many, many times on the show. But I mean, hey, Joe, you've got all kinds of stories about this. You got to finally go to a concert, and this is the gatefold. It's lyrics. There's a boss. There he is.
Yeah,
in his younger days, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, arguably the breakthrough album. I'm really looking forward to the biography because I think the young guy Jeremy, whatever his name, the kid that plays the bear in that show, is playing Springsteen, and I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it a pretty good job of it. So, I think it's an okay story, the origin of Bruce and where he started, and, being pissed off with his parents being pissed off at him and moving out and doing all the things he did and all the New Jersey stuff going on. I think it should be okay. And then with the E Street Band, without the E Street Band, I don't know how far they're going to go. It might be like Dylan, where they kind of went to Highway 61 and then that was the end of the show, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Now the question is, what is everybody's favorite track on here? I mean, Born to Run is the most well-known one, but Thunder Road leads that album off. It's a great song.
That's a killer tune. Hey, you got to show the other side of that gatefold. The side you showed is awesome, but when you open the album, it's a killer show. Yeah, man. Speaking of the E Street Band,
the lyric side.
No, the other side. No. I'm talking about the reverse side. Yeah, no. Open the thing up. Open it up, so you get Bruce and right.
Turn it around.
No.
Turn it around.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There you go. Yeah, that's a killer shot. Yeah, I love that. Isn't that great?
That's great. Yeah,
killer shot. Just love it.
All right. So, Rob, you've got either a B or a N, I guess. No.
You.
Thunder Road. What is it? What was the name of that?
Born to
Thunder.
Run.
That's Born to Run. Okay, sorry. My bad.
Okay, I haven't shown this before, so I figured, what the hell? I'll show it. Ben Folds 5. Okay, guys, remember these guys? This is Whatever Amen, which came out in 2004. So Ben Folds was he's a piano player, but he's kind of like a jazzy pop piano. Would that sound about right, Joe? You agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think that's a wrong description by any means. So, yeah.
This. I mean, I think he had one big hit on here, the song "Brick," which was on here. I remember all over, Much Music or MTV for our American friends back in, the late 90s when this came out. So I bought this a while ago because I thought that song was great. And I got to say, I'm underwhelmed with the rest of the record.
Yeah.
Would be a fair assessment. I mean, it's okay. Like, the musicianship is good, but it just, doesn't really do it for me. I've never gotten rid of a record, but if I did, this might be one of them. So it's called Whatever Amen. So you get a W or an A after that, or a W or an N.
N. Okay. Nice one. My little sister, can you guys hear me okay? I just kind of switched the mic. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah. So my sister's a big Ben Folds super fan. And I don't have any Ben Folds in my collection. So I'm going with this very nice copy of Nico, Chelsea Girl. This is, Nico, famously from Nico and the Velvet Underground, first sort of supermodel who got paired up with, via Andy Warhol with Lou Reed and crew. And she's on that record. But her solo records are, I have a handful of them, but I think this is her first one. It might be her second, but I think it's her first one. And Chelsea Girl is, if you don't know, I think if I remember this right, there's a film, there's like an art house film by Warhol, and it's a really weird black and white thing. And is it good? I'm not really sure, but it's this sort of split screen thing that's happening. And half of the movie is happening on this side and half of the movie is, and it's like it's black and white. It's really lo-fi. And Nico's on one side, like making coffee and hanging out in the kitchen and just having this like horrible or like non, what's the word I'm looking for? Like inconsequential conversation with somebody on one side. And then on the other side, there's like a guy who's fighting with his girlfriend. It's very weird. And anyway, so yeah. And Nico famously, I was asked to contribute when I did the vinyl tag one year put forth by Rob Walker. He asked for everybody to put a Manchester artist forward, because of the the Manchester, Blue-Eyed Soul and all this and all the Britpop and so. And I don't have so much of that stuff, but Nico spent her days out. She's lived in Manchester for some 30 years, and so she was kind of connected to this. And last thing I'll say about this is it doesn't have any drums on it. It's been called like a Baroque what has it been called? It's a very interesting album. If you haven't heard it, it's featured all over kind of hipster stuff. She's often in these songs are on soundtracks. You'll see them in like Wes Anderson movies. But what was funny, when I bought this record, I was at a record shop in Tokyo, and it was quite an obscure record shop, and I like didn't recognize like any of the titles, like nothing. Basically, I was just like, I don't know what any of this is. And this was playing on the house stereo, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this is for sale. I know this, I actually kind of. And I walked over to the record store and I said like, hey, can I is this for sale? And he said, yeah. And I said, how much? And he said, well, I don't know, but what about $20? And I said, yes, definitely, yes. He's like, it doesn't have the Obi on. I was like, I don't care about the Obi. Give me $20, I'll take it. And so, and he took the record off and I thought, I like to do this whenever I go to the record shop, to buy the record off the player that's playing, so that the guy will remember me as the guy who bought the record off the player, and then next time I go in there, I'm like, yo, I'm and they're like, oh yeah. It's kind of like a little thing it's a little subversive trick I do to try to get in good with the record players or the record store owners. Be prepared, Joe, when I come to your record shop and I manipulate you by being like, hey, nice taste, man. What's this? Give me the discount the next time I come in. But the guy took the record off the player, put it in the jacket, and he found the Obi inside the jacket. And he was like, oh, the Obi's here. And I was like, oh, great. And he was like, it's got to be like 5,000 yen or it's got to be like $40 to double the price. I was like, oh, but you just said $20. And he was like, I know, but it's like, I found the Obi inside because the guy who, I didn't realize it was in there. And I'm like, in that moment, I had to like decide whether or not I was going to be like, well, never mind then. Or if I just like bit the bullet and bought it. And I thought, okay, well, I like the record. I don't really care about the Obi, but it's cool to have one. So let's just make good on it, and we'll forget how much. Now now it's making for a great story later down the road. So maybe it was worth it in the end. Anyway, Nico. So this is Chelsea Girl. So you've got either a C or a CH and a Chelsea Girl L. That's up next. Did I do it right? That's basically it, right?
You absolutely did it right. Absolutely did it right. A couple comments to catch up on, Joe, before we go around again.
Yeah.
Richard saying, I own 0 Ben Folds. I don't know that you're missing a lot. I don't know. I'm not the connoisseur, but, that one was so-so. Keith is saying, if I had the chance to get Springsteen's autograph, Born to Run would be the perfect canvas. Hell yeah. I mean, there's not a better album cover to be autographed for sure. Yes, 97, Roy, you are correct. Joe puts on Mantovani records. Okay.
Mantovani. Yeah. That's like Nana Muscuri. That's where there's, if you buy a collection of anyone that is 70 or over, there will be some of those in there. So yeah, I know what he was going for there.
So weird that a strip of paper doubles the price. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I would have thought at least, okay, fine, $30. Let's meet in the middle.
Maybe that's what it was. Let me say that's probably what it was. It was 55. It was 60% more, whatever it was. It wasn't a full double price.
This comment does not surprise me in the least, because Roy has seen everybody on the planet.
That's
a solo performance of Nico at the Roundhouse in London in the 70s. Strange and enigmatic. So there you go.
I mean, those tunes off the Nico and Velvet Underground record I love them. There's some of them there. She adds to the album, I think, for sure. If you guys like and know and like that record, I it's pretty iconic.
Okay. I know the record. I don't know if I would say that I like the record, but I know the record. I don't dislike it. I'm not sure if it's not one that I probably shouldn't have given more of a chance. I'd listened to it a couple of times and it just didn't hit me. I still have it over on the shelf somewhere, but
go listen to this one. You'll find something on there you'll like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Chelsea Girl. Yeah.
As Brian, as you were relating that story of going up to the guy at the record store going, hey, what is that? I want it. One of my pet peeves, and I've said it many times, is record store owners who are assholes. And I have a story about that just happened last week. I went into one of my locals in the next town over that I've been going to for years, and I know the guys that work there are assholes. I'm used to them being assholes. But I went in there and I was browsing, seeing if they had any record store day leftovers that I was looking for, but they didn't. And there was something playing that just blew me away, and I didn't know what the hell it was. So, of course, I asked my phone what it was, and my phone tells me what it is. It's a local artist from the town next to where I live. I'm going, wow, this is, and it's that artist I was telling you about, Joe.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. So I went up to the guy at the counter, begrudgingly, because I didn't want to talk to him because he's an asshole. And I said to the guy, this is fantastic. Can I buy this? He goes, no. I go,
okay.
Is it available? Yeah, it's on CD.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, that,
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, but I said, is it available on vinyl? No. Do you have $20,000 that you can loan her so she can press a record? Because that's what it costs you.
Oh, that's not nice.
And I'm like, first of all, it doesn't cost $20,000 to press a record. I've pressed 2 of them, so go screw yourself. But you don't need to be a dick about it. I'm just asking if it's available, you jerk.
People are so funny.
Like, you're running a business, man, and I'm appreciating what you're listening to. You don't need to be a dick. God, that's my pet peeve.
They're targets for people like us, Rob. I think they just it's like they need to unload that on somebody. And if you can be the one who can take that,
sure.
Poof, let it explode under the bomb container, just let it go. And I will say, like, there is something about a record store owner, it's like that waitress who's like, hey, come on. I don't got all day. Can't you see there's other people here that got to take orders? Come on. What do you want? It's not that hard. It's eggs and toast. What do you want?
Right.
Like, it's a little charming. Uh-oh, there goes my camera. But let me fix that while I'm talking. But you want the record. You don't mind a record store being like a little bit like, oh God, do you have no idea? Your daughter doesn't want that. Do you even know your daughter? That scene from High Fidelity.
Yeah.
But that level of snarkiness is not cool.
It was just, I'm like, and I knew it was going to happen. I was like, oh, I don't want to go talk to this guy. But anyway,
let me get my cam sorted here. Sorry.
That's all right. Well, you get that fixed. Joe's going to go. So you got the next one pulled there, Joe?
I do. So the next artist we're going to go with is my current obsession, and it's Lady Gaga's new one, Mayhem. I really like this album. I've talked as of late how I never gave her a chance off the start, how I think it was a little too much gimmick. This coming from the Kiss fan, I don't understand that how the gimmick bothered me or did something to me. But man, I've sure come around, and this is a fantastic album. It's got a lot of different elements. She drew references from a lot of different places, and it's really, really good. I'm definitely not her target audience, the 60-year-old white guy, but I don't think she has a target audience anymore. That's the thing. I think that she's kind of broadened her range. She's like Taylor, to a certain extent, where it's not just young girls that are listening to her, or it's not, there are artists that are still like that. I think, you could talk about like a Charlie XCX and Chapel Roan and that, where they're still a little narrow in their field. But this is a fantastic album. How Bad Do You Want Me is my favorite off of here. Abracadabra is really good, and it's kind of funky, techno-y, almost Nine Inch Nails, which she was kind of referencing that she drew some inspiration from. There's a song on here called Killa that's really fantastic as well. I'm not, again, I'm not the greatest reviewer, other than to say I really like this album. It's a very good album, and I would highly recommend listening to this album if you're a fan at all. It's a lot more like the first one, but then it's also a departure on some stuff. So there you go, Lady Gaga, and the album is Mayhem. So you've got an A, or pardon me, you've got an M or an M to go for. Sorry, but that's what you're working with, Daryl. But I really like it. I mean, not that it matters, but it's the nice opaque blue for the indie record stores and that. But Die With a Smile, the Bruno Mars is on here as well. So, if you're a fan of that kind of ballady duet, that's a really good song as well. That's on here. There's one that she wrote with her husband, or her fiance, pardon me, which is Tie a Piece of Grass Around My Finger. That's paraphrasing a little bit. But Zombie Boy and How Bad Do You Want Me? It's got some it's been compared to a few other songs, and if you hear those songs, you'll get it as well, but I don't want to say it because then all you're going to hear is that a little bit, I think. So anyway, for those that are wondering and are a bit of a fan, it's a really, really good album. And even if you're not a bit of a fan, maybe give it a chance, stream some of it and give it a chance, because it's a very, very good album. But Mayhem. So there you go, Daryl. You are up for some Mayhem.
All right.
Okay. Before Daryl gets started, it's 2-0 Washington. So go ahead.
That's okay. That's about the point that I shut my Leafs game off last night.
I'm kind of glad I'm not watching it. So I'm going to put the hat on backwards now. I'm embarrassed.
A rally cap.
Yeah, rally cap.
So,
Yeah.
So Joe, it's funny you brought up that album, because this afternoon, a student in one of my classes asked me if I'd heard the new Lady Gaga album, and I was like, no, I haven't listened to any Lady Gaga. And now you talk about that Abracadabra song, and I was like, right away, as soon as you said it, I was like, I've heard that song. I know exactly what that song is. And he talked about kind of how she got that inspiration from Nine Inch Nails and that industrial sound.
Yeah.
That kind of gave me the inspiration actually for this next selection. So I'm going, because it was M or M, I'm going with Ministry's Psalm 69. So you can either start it with a P or the number 9.
Shit.
The letter P or the number 9.
Can I do
this
like?
one's for you.
All right.
Number
Okay, I
nine.
got,
No, you can't use the word 9. It would need to be the letter 9.
okay.
You
so
can
I
bend the
gotta-
rules there. I'm going to bring in the Japan. I'm going to bring in Japan rules. And Japan rules, you can use the 9.
All right.
Okay, fine.
If you have a record an artist that begins with 9. Oh,
I never thought
shit.
I'd say this on camera. I'm going to go P. Get it?
Sit-down.
So this album here, this is for you, Richard. If you're still in the comments, I know you like Ministry and all that industrial music has to offer. But this album here, I remember the first time that I ever heard this, I was like, what the heck is this industrial stuff back in the 90s? And the first video that I'd ever seen of this band was on Beavis and Butthead on MTV. And it was the Just One Fix song. And I was so grossed out by the video, because the whole music video and the whole song is about heroin and the band's addiction to heroin. And there's a scene where the teenage boy is going to this sleazy hotel for a fix, and the kid's puking in a toilet. And I was just like, are they actually showing this on MTV? And then I realized it was 11 o'clock at night. But I mean, this has NWO. It's got Just One Fix. It's got my personal favorite, Jesus Built My Hot Rod. And my youngest son, I've mentioned this before, like he does have autism, but if I play this, I don't know what it is. He digs this kind of music, which is so strange. But it is a cool album. I don't know. Al Jorgensen to me is kind of like the Keith Richards of the industrial world. I don't know how the guy is still alive. The amount of drugs and the amount of piercings he's got in his face, and just hard to believe he was dating a supermodel or something along those lines at one point in time, and just crazy stuff. I know that a few years back, the Ministry did an album. Every single song on the album, I believe, either started with the letter S or the letter W, and they were all like almost like protest music to the George Bush government, and all it just, anyway, he's insane. And strangely, he was actually born in Cuba, but he never really grew up there. His dad, I think, was in the military and did some time in Cuba. So yeah, Psalm 69, Ministry. I mean, it's a genre that, I mean, I don't have a ton of stuff in it. I mean, industrial music's pretty hard stuff, but I like that album. It's one of my favorite industrial albums, other than the Downward Spiral. I think Downward Spiral is a pretty good one by Nine Inch Nails, but other than that, yeah, there you go, Psalm 69, and you just took a pee, so
I
let's
did.
do what you got, Rob.
I grabbed the P.
Grab the pee.
Okay. This is an album. Fuck, I love this record. We're going some Canadian content on this one, because that's where my catalog runs deep. This is a band called the Joel Plaskett Emergency. or you could just call him Joel Plaskett if you want to. The album is called Truthfully, Truthfully. So you got a T or a Y. So there's Joel right there.
Oh, that's a nice photo.
This is an oldie. This came out, I don't know the date, but I'm going to say it was 90s. Joel's been making music. He's from the East Coast of Canada. He owns New Scotland Recordings. It's a relatively renowned recording studio in Nova Scotia. He actually just celebrated, I believe, his 60th birthday or 50th birthday. I think it's 50th birthday. And unbeknownst to him, a group of Canadian musicians got together and covered a bunch of his songs and made a tribute album for it. And it just dropped last week as a surprise to him. But I like this guy. Great, sort of, straight up rock and roll. This had probably, I think, maybe the biggest hit of his career on here, called Come On Teacher. That was probably his biggest. But yeah, this is an absolutely incredible rock album. The Joel Plaskett Emergency. Truthfully.
Wow. Okay. Deep cut there.
I've never heard of those guys. I'm going to have to check that out because
yeah, it looks good.
Like that Canadian stuff. What would you say that it's comparable to?
Like Matt Mays, Tom Cochrane.
Yeah. No, I dig that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think you would like this. I'm pretty sure. So.
Cool. New musical discoveries to be made here through this process. Very cool.
To go along with all your ones from the vinyl tag, you've been discovering a lot of stuff.
I'm on your thing. I've been on your list for now 2 weeks. I got stalled and I've got like 5 more records to go. I want to say that record was on there, but I'm not sure that it was.
I don't even remember what I put on there.
I've got it handy. I've got 5 more songs before I'm finished. It's such a great way to discover music. Okay, so I have a T or a Y, right?
T or a Y, yep.
So I was thinking of going with a couple of different things, but I just reached for this one. This is Why Is the World in Love Again? Why Are They Marching Hand in Hand? It's a brand new record for 1990. They Might Be Giants, brand new album, Flood. I love this record. You probably, maybe I assume you guys know this record. Everybody knows They Might Be Giants, Flood. Maybe not. Maybe it's like it's just I was at the right time in the right place. This is the one that has Birdhouse in Your Soul. Istanbul.
Is that the one that has the impression that I get or no?
Which one? Say again?
The impression that I get? Or is that the Mighty Mighty Bosstones?
That's Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah, that's not this one. But the noteworthy thing about this record, well, first of all, it's a great record. It's probably their 4th. It's not such an early record. It's their 3rd or 4th or 5th record. And how's it go? It's kind of, this is the way that the record goes, actually. So it's kind of sideways. But if we turn it like this, anyway, I found this record I found that song Birdhouse in Your Soul on MTV like late at night. And I was like, oh, it's so catchy. I got this so good. And it only played at one of those midnight to 1 a.m. hours. And I kept staying up late to try to hear the song again. And I like to catch who it was. And I finally figured out who it was. And I was so excited to turn my friends onto it and be like, yo, I found this awesome band from MTV. It's so underground. It's 1 a.m. Right. And I remember my parents took this trip to I got dragged along on this trip to Oklahoma City to go see some friends. And we stopped at the Kmart before we went. And I was like, my mom was like, you can go buy a cassette, right? Whatever you want. So you can listen to it on the Walkman and tune out while we're hanging out with my friends for 2 days. And so I went into They Might Be Giants and I found one. And I was like, oh, nice. And then I got in the car in the back of the station wagon and I put the headphones on and it wasn't the first song. And I said past the second song and then the third and the fourth and the fifth. And I was like, oh no, it must be on the side B. I turned it over and I'm looking for the song. I can't find it anywhere. I get to the end of the album. I was like, oh, it's not on this album. This is Lincoln. This is the wrong one. It's the one before this record. And, then I was stuck with the dang cassette I didn't want. It didn't have the track on it. So I had to listen to that one for whatever it was, for 2 days, and then 3 days, and then 3 months, and then 2 years, and then 20 years. And now it was the first record that I remember that I didn't know if I liked on the first listening, and I had spent my money, and I had to learn to appreciate the record over time. And then I ended up getting Flood, and it had the song on it, and I love the record, and it's a great record, and maybe I love it more than Lincoln. But Lincoln, the record I think that precedes this one, always has that special place in my heart because, it taught me like how to appreciate a record, even though that I might have not liked. We all know that experience. Like, you like a record so much on the first listening, you're like, oh, I think this one might wear out rather quickly. I may listen to this one entirely too much until I can't hear it ever again. A record that you're like, I'm not sure. Let's try that once more. Those are the ones that, they're steam. What do you call them? They're like
slow burn.
This slow burn, right? They're percolating, right? And you kind of like, you learn to appreciate them over time. But anyway, Flood from 1990. They Might Be Giants. Brand new album, Flood. Great record. So Flood, Flood. So you got an F or a D?
All right, Joe.
How did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. You guys ever watch Craig Ferguson, the Craig Ferguson show? I was a huge fan of Craig. Yeah. He used to do the little songs at the beginning, and he did that one, and it was fantastic. He had the little guy in like the in the bondage outfit out dancing around and stuff. It was pretty good. It's out there. There is a whole channel that are complete episodes of Craig Ferguson. I watch like 2 or 3 a night. It's perfect. It's great. No commercials, no nothing. Just put it on. Him and Jeff Peterson and everything is always great. So how much was that? $5?
$3.
Oh my God. Really? That's awesome. That's great. All right. I'm going to go with D. I went over there and I picked one, and then I changed my mind. And not as obscure, not obscure. That's not fair. I think we all know They Might Be Giants. But I'm going to go with an album we don't show much by a band we do show a lot, which is Def Leppard. At least I show a lot. But it's On Through the Night. It's one of the early, obviously, for Def Leppard, and one of my favorites still. I mean, I'm still always a big fan of Pyromania. That's probably my favorite, and I'm a big fan of Hysteria. But High and Dry is great. But this is back to when I think they were 12 when this album came out. Maybe not quite. They were young, though. But just fantastic. Steve Clark on here still at that point. Rick Savage, obviously. And Rick Allen and Joe is on here. But, really good. Rock Brigade, probably the big one off of this. But back when they were just getting started, before they were doing stadiums and tours and everything else, and before they had Mutt Lange around, and before they had 18 singles on one 20-track album. But good stuff. So there you go, Rob. Def Leppard, On Through the Night. You got an O or a T to work with. It was either going to be that or it was going to be Doctor and the Medics, which is a great album, actually. For a one-hit wonder, it's a pretty decent album, the one with their version of Spirit in the Sky on it. So plus, wait 1 second. I realize I've got it in this old shitty plastic thing that I should not have it in, because I've got a wonderful. Well, it's I've got a bunch of really wonderful sleeves from a place called Vinyl Storage Solutions.ca if you're looking. And I'm going to replace that crappy one with a really, really good one. I'm going to put it on here. And when I bought those, I used the promo code Northern 10, and I got 10% off on all my wonderful sleeves. Look, I need an inner too, so I can put. This is the original, but I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put a nice new inner and a nice new outer on Def Leppard, On Through the Night. Use the promo code Northern 10; it'll get you 10% off.
This is one of my favorite parts of the show, actually. I love the way it gets weaved in so seamlessly. It's excellent work.
I don't know if seamless is the way we'd put it.
That's pretty seamless.
It works.
It gets weaved in. It gets weaved in nonetheless. So
somewhat.
Okay, Daryl, you're up.
So Rob, you were asking me if I ever bought anything for Record Store Day. Well,
yeah.
To kind of continue with this theme, if you've ever wondered if Vinyl Storage Solutions has really good packaging when they ship, I did buy Record Store Day vinyl storage solution. So I bought some sleeves for my records that I haven't opened up yet, but I'm going to get to it. So the packaging is wonderful. And going back to your record, On Through the Night, when I did that record station thing, I actually found a copy of On Through the Night. The sleeve and everything was there, and I opened up the sleeve and there was no record in it.
Oh,
I could have had an OG pressing, and there was no record inside of it. I was like, oh man. And the sleeve was in mint condition too. So pretty crazy. So On Through the Night, I'm gonna go with the O. And if you are familiar with, as much as I'm not a Habs fan, I remember growing up as a kid, they used to play this song at Habs games all the time. I don't know what it is, but I'm going with the band Opus out of Austria, and Live is Life. Na 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 na. Live is Life. Pretty crazy. This is a German pressing. It's the only album I've ever bought off of Amazon that actually made it to my address, because everything that gets shipped from Amazon to this town, Moosonee, never ends up getting here because they don't ship here. You have to give some fake postal code just to get it here. But it is a Polydor German pressing. Let's see here. 1980s, and you can tell it's 1980s just by the cheap film strips that are on there on the back and all that kind of stuff. But it's a cool song. And I heard the strangest cover of this song. I don't know if you've ever heard, there's a band from, I'd like to say Slovenia or Slovakia or something. Anyway, they're an industrial band from the 80s and the 90s called Laibach. They do a cover of it, and it almost sounds like German marching done to Live is Life. It is the strangest song if you ever watch the music video. But anyway, you can tell this is the cheapest sleeve ever. It's like almost like the sleeve itself is like the what do they call that the really thin vinyl records that K-Tel and stuff used to do, almost like floppy,
like acetates,
Dynaflex.
Yeah, almost like acetates. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, I think that this has to be the only band from Austria that I know that had a top 40 hit in North America. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Live is Life, it's a great song, but a really odd band. Yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say about it because there's not much more to say about Opus. Live is Life. So there we go.
Cool.
Okay. So I get L or E, right?
Correct.
Okay. To fill people in who are just tuning in, you can never break the chain. So we started off with Fleetwood Mac's Rumors and with Joe, and the album title starts with an R, ends with an S. The next person has to pull an artist that either starts with an R or S, and we just have been working through the chain, as we say. So you pull an artist who starts with the same letter as the title of the previous record, and it's just kind of a different way to maybe show some stuff we haven't shown before. That's what we're doing tonight. So with L, I have never shown this, I don't think. This is Long Branch Penny Whistle. Have you guys even heard of this? Probably not.
I don't think so. Nope.
Okay.
I like the cover.
Well, this album came out in, I don't know, 1970 something. And if you look at the two gentlemen on the front, it is a very young J.D. Souther and a very young Glenn Frey.
Whoa. Cool.
Glenn Frey would go on to meet Don Henley and form the Eagles, and J.D. Souther would write a bunch of songs for the Eagles. So this is a predecessor. This was sort of the early roots of where the Eagles came from before Don and Glenn were Linda Ronstadt's backing band. This is even before this. This is before, any fame whatsoever. But it's still in that sort of California, San Fernando Valley country rock kind of, it sounds like a not quite so polished version of the Eagles, if you will. So
cool.
It's an album not too many folks know about. It was repressed. So this is the 2018 repress, or there's the original if you can ever find it. But there's Glenn swinging on a rope there. And lyrics on the inside. That's it. So Long Branch, Penny Whistle. So Brian, you've
Long Branch, Penny Whistle. So L or an E.
L or an E.
My turn.
Like
Sorry, my turn. Wait, L. Sorry, I wasn't going quick.
That's okay.
I still, when we do this, I don't know how many of you remember, but I think it's Wyoming Dave. Remember? I think not this year's vinyl tag, but the year before, he would read the question on his computer, and then he would go find a record, and then he would come back and he would talk about. Then he'd read the next question, and he'd go and he'd find a record, and he'd come back. It was great. It was awesome. It was fun to watch. So,
yep.
Okay, I got something a little bit obscure here.
Lay it on us.
So this is Lewis, Jeffrey Lewis, and the Voltage. Now Jeffrey Lewis has gone by Jeff Lightning Lewis, Jeffrey Lewis, Jeff Lewis, and there's a couple of different iterations. He's from New York City, and he's part of this like anti-folk movement. Regina Spektor and the Moldy Peaches and Adam Green and Kimya Dawson, and he's from this, like, do you guys know about anti-folk? I kind of stumbled into it. It was a thing that kind of happened in the 90s, and there's this character who doesn't get any of the credit, but who sort of revived the New York folk thing with a little bit of punk edge to it. And so all these kind of bands sprung up like in downtown and in the villages and in the coffee houses, and they like kind of revived the 60s folk thing, and except with an edge to it. And it was in these kind of incestuous bands. They were all sort of going to different bands, and one of the characters in this scene was Jeff Lewis. And Jeff Lewis has this kind of like, he's quite a New York character. He comes across a little bit like Robert Crumb in that he's super genius. He's a bit obsessed. He's somewhat intimidating, even though he's hardly at all. And his songs are these little, they're just little songs that you'd write in the attic. You know, they're not really these grandiose things. It's like if you could distill like Granddaddy even down further to like just something really, really simple guitar. But it's he plays drums and bass, and he's got a band, and it's not just a acoustics band at all, but it's like almost like a teenage band, like a teenager kind of band. And it's a real lo-fi and funny and fun. And the actual jacket is incredible. Like, so he's a comic artist too. And this is him. And if I remember correctly, yeah, he's written out all the words of all the songs. And like, check this out. Like, it's all this comic art that he's written out. Yeah, it's really stunning. And he's got like comic books and things like this, but he has a song on MTV called it's called The LPs. And I've got a couple of his records. This is kind of a recent offering. His earlier stuff is incredible, but this one is really fun to listen to. And you got to go check out the song called The LPs. He's got a song called I've Got a Disease. It's called The LPs. And he talks about the experience of basically growing up in the 90s and, you know, his first, you know, like discovering record stores and being like, oh, wait a second, I can get Led Zeppelin for $2. Oh, wait, Pink Floyd, $3. Why am I buying CDs? I could buy these for $2 and $3. So he suddenly starts discovering music through like buying records at the thrift stores and the recycle shops and the Salvation Armies and Goodwills and things like this. And he talks about he's got this disease and he has to go to the doctor and he has to get checked out because he can't go walk past a record store without getting pulled into and it's a real funny sort of like Weird Al-ish video. And I Got the Disease. It's called The LPs. It's real catchy and fun. Look up LPs. And then at the end of the video and the end of the song, he talks about how like suddenly everything's too expensive and everybody's so hip and they all want my LPs that I've been buying for years for super on the cheap at the Goodwills, and now they're all expensive and everything's cool and I can't buy anything anymore because it's super expensive. And so now I've got the new disease. It's called the CDs, and he talks about the CDs. And at the very end, he has this little spoken word thing, and he says like, everybody asks me about the records that I didn't, all the records that I have, and my only advice is to you is the only regret I ever have is buying the records or not buying the records that I wanted. Something to that effect.
Very cool.
And it's really, Jeff Lewis, go look up. I've got the LPs, and that's off of Bad Wiring. So you've got a B or a G to work with here from Jeffrey Lewis and the Voltage. Great, cool band. Check these guys out.
Perfect.
Okay. You got a B or a G there, Joe?
Yeah. I do. The B's are right here. So I'm going to go with this because I don't know if I've shown this one. And it is one of my favorites. And it's Blue Oyster Cult and the Fire of Unknown Origin. Burning for You on here. The Psychic Wars is on here. If you remember that from the movie, the Heavy Metal, the animated Heavy Metal movie, the Veteran of 1,000 Psychic Wars. Good album. I mean, I think most people know Blue Oyster Cult by a couple other songs, but I have always been fond of this album. I don't think there was really much else on there. And I think they were definitely one of those bands that sustained and they just kept making albums. They kept making albums. They never really had a ton of hits by any means, but really good. And obviously some cool artwork on the cover of that as well as I shine it not in the light. I'm not sure if that's a little.
Well, once more. Let's get a good look at that.
Handmade tail-ish there, a little bit, kind of. All the ladies with the hoods, and then they've got, they've got different things. If you look on the, I don't know if it'll show, but so she's got a little something different on the center of her forehead than she has on her forehead. So actually, that might be now that I think about it, I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to research this album cover a little bit because that's kind of cool. There is a lot of interesting imagery on here. But Fire of Unknown Origin, Blue Oyster Cult, back to 1981. Just really good stuff. Again, Burning for You and Veteran of the Psychic Wars are the singles off of here. And again, I think for those that are aware of that movie Heavy Metal, which is one of my all-time favorites, it was in there. That was then. That's a great soundtrack. Cheap Trick on there, Reach Out and Take It, Sammy Hagar with his version of Heavy Metal, Donald Fagen with his version of Heavy Metal. Just some great stuff. Sabbath is on there, right, with something from when Ronnie James, I can't remember which song it is, but yeah, that's a killer soundtrack. That's not why we're here, though. We're here because of Blue Oyster Cult and Fire of Unknown Origin. So I don't think I'm screwing you over here, Daryl, with the same letters all the time. And I wasn't being lazy, but I haven't shown that album before. And like I said, I think I'm going to go and check out this album cover and see if I can get a little more information on it now. So there you go.
No, you didn't screw me over because it's either an F or an N. I don't think we've gone with F yet. And speaking of albums, I've never shown ever on my channel. I've never shown it on here. I've never shown it on my channel, except maybe in like one of those vinyl finds things. And you don't usually see this guy too much. I remember my dad playing this when I was a kid. And I know that what's his name? That Kyle from Stack's channel. He has like that Duolingo challenge going on, and I think I'm going to try to do it. And this is one that I might show on it, and it's Freddie Fender's Before the Next Teardrop Falls.
Nice.
So it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like 1960s and 70s. Got a little bit of Chicano music there, some Spanish in there. Kind of a country sound, kind of soft pop sound. But Before the Next Teardrop Falls, and my personal favorite, of course, this album includes Wasted Days and Wasted Nights on it, which is a classic 70s track. And hey, who doesn't want to dress like that? That is a classic.
I have that suit in my closet. I just don't have the boots. Just Saturday nights. You know,
if I had hair, you know, why not go with that? That's pretty classy. But yeah, no, this is like something that my dad and my grandfather would listen to when I was younger, and something my dad probably had on a cassette tape. And I know that that's a faux pas. We're not supposed to talk cassettes on this channel, but I think my dad had it on cassette at one point in time. But I don't know. There's just something about Freddie Fender, and I'm never going to get rid of that album. It's just, I'm not ashamed to say I like Freddie Fender. And you know what? Going back, you were talking about like Nana Muscuri and all that you'll find Freddie Fender in like every yard sale collection you will ever come across. But hey, Before the Next Teardrop Falls is a sad breakup song, and then Wasted Days and Wasted Nights is what you do after you break up. So classic.
Yeah. The earworm was They Might Be Giants. The earworm now is Freddie Fender, because Sunday Morning Oldies back in the day, it was always on there, both of those. So I might even have that album too, actually, just because, for sentimental reasons, I think so.
Hey, that Kyle at Stax Channel, who you mentioned, he so I put forth this Japan vinyl tag like 6 months or more ago, and Rob participated in it, and a handful of other people, and he did too. This Kyle at Stax, and not only did he do, and it was like, you know, Japan sort of inspired questions like name a record that would be good for the Sunrise, and maybe name a record that's good for the Bullet Train, and things like this. And he did one. And he put forth a great list. And he's a big Bowie fan. You know that Stax dude is like a giant Bowie head.
Yeah.
Anyway, check out Kyle. He's got a new channel. He's cool. And he did another Japan vinyl tag, and he answered every prompt, all 20 of them, with different David Bowie albums.
Nice.
Oh, wow. And it was really cool. Because I went and listened to it, and I leveled up my David Bowie knowledge. And of course we all love Bowie, but like, do we really know Bowie like a real Bowie fan? Like I didn't. I thought I did, but I really didn't. And there was a whole bunch of like middle awesome albums. Sorry to go off there on a tangent, but when you mentioned Kyle, I was just got a little bit excited. Cool dude. Kyle at Stax Channel, right? And he's got a Duolingo thing going on. Okay,
he's had it on there for a little while. Basically, show 5 songs that are sung in 2 different languages. So like,
cool.
Before the Next Teardrop Falls is in English, but there's like a set of lyrics, I think halfway through, where he sings in Spanish. So basically a song that has two languages in the same song. Yeah.
I forgot to bring that original that I sent you a picture of home, Rob, to show it tonight. I forgot to do that. So
we'll have to do that next week.
Yeah, I'll do it next week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what were my letters, Daryl? B or S, right?
Were B or S.
Okay. Public service announcement. The Montreal Canadiens are losing 3-1 in the third period. Okay, this record's for Joe, because I know he's a big fan.
Oh yeah, I saw your most recent video, and I'm the big fan of Bryan Adams as well. But that's fine. Oh, sheepdogs. Oh, lovely.
So Joe's a fan for a few reasons, namely that they're from Saskatchewan, right?
They are. Yeah,
Saskatoon, I think, aren't they?
They're Saskatoon. That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So, what do I say about the sheepdogs? The sheepdogs are like a 70s kind of throwback band, but they sound to me kind of like not like Black Crowes throwback, but kind of more like Blood, Sweat, and Tears kind of.
Yeah, it's stuff that I should like, actually. I don't know why I don't. It is, and I don't hate it, but yeah, it just has never really grabbed me. They're the band that won.
I was gonna get there.
Got it.
Don't steal his thunder.
I'm not.
So this is their album from 2022, Out of Sight. I don't know. They've got 8 or 10 albums at this point, but their claim to fame was Rolling Stone magazine about, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, did the contest to put the first unsigned band ever on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And it was a contest, and these guys won it. So these guys were the first unsigned artist on the cover of Rolling Stone. I like the first couple albums, like 5 Easy Pieces and I think Learn and Burn. Those are pretty good records. This is okay. I don't listen to it a lot. I should listen to it more. They're good. They don't grab me as much as maybe they should. But yeah, I have met this gentleman right here, Jim Boskill, who is no longer with the band. because he left the Sheepdogs to become the pedal steel and guitar player for Blue Rodeo when my buddy Bob left. So I met Jim when he started playing for Blue Rodeo. So anyway, yeah, this is for Joe, one of his favorite bands, the Sheepdogs.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. It was either that or maybe we'll still get some Bryan Adams in here tonight. I don't know.
Can you
Oh,
I mean,
set that up. Somebody set that up, please.
Yeah, exactly. Can we what?
It is the I mean, it's like they built a concert for me. It's Bryan Adams with the Sheepdogs opening.
I know you should go.
What more do you need?
I know you should go.
Except the noose. But anyway. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, Brian.
Okay, I am. So you gave me a T for the last one, Rob.
Out of
so
sight.
Yeah, so I have to. I'm going to try to go for O, but I only have one O record, and I've been talking too much, and I can't talk about this record at all. So I will just say it's Osibisa. Osibisa. Who knows? I don't know much about this record. Maybe I inherited this. I don't think I bought it. I think it came with a collection, and I'm guessing it's sort of avant. It's prog rocky. Does anybody know? Help me out here.
They're an African band. Okay. My dad had a different album of theirs, and there was a song on it called "Who's Got the Paper, Who's Got the Match." Speaking of earworm song, it's the most ridiculous song, but they got some cool like bongo stuff on there, and just you could say it's like African proggy. I don't know. It's different.
Here, let's read like one paragraph. I mean, we give you our treasure, they sing. Be happy. The first time I met Osibisa, am I saying it right? Osibisa? Osibisa. Sure. They were rehearsing in a damp, dirty postcard-sized room in London's Denmark Street, the road known as Tin Pan Alley, which traditionally leads to riches and fame. On that time, Osibisa had nothing except their instruments, their talent, and their twofold love for their music and for each other. They were totally unknown, just starting out in one of the world's most competitive arenas. Okay, so the album cover is pretty out there. I'm sure it's by some famous artist who we should know about, but
Roger Dean.
Oh, nice, dude. You're okay. Well done.
Well, I don't know, but Vance knew, so he put it up.
Vance knew, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll pull this out and I'll leave this as something to listen to in the next week or so. So that's another little nice aspect of this little exercise. Pull out things from your collection that you don't really know. So there's my okay, sorry. So the title is a mouthful as well. It's, in fact, I think it's a letter that is it's W or an A. It's called Wo Ya Ya. Wo Ya Ya, I think, is the name of the album. Wo Ya Ya. So you've got a W or an A.
Okay. All right.
W or an A.
Because I wasn't on the ball because I was looking to which album of theirs that I have, because I have one. And if nothing else, fantastic artwork, right? So I'll go with A only because they're right behind me. And I won't pull out AC/DC because I do that all the time. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. So it's a band we all know, and they have a massive album, but this is not that one, and it is Aha. And this is Stay on These Roads. This is their, I think, second, maybe third, not sure, can't remember. Obviously not the one with Take On Me, not the big album, but I like these guys. Joanne likes them quite a bit more actually than I do as well. So that might fall into the category of this is one of Joanne's albums. But the album, one more time, Daryl, is Stay on These Roads. So you've got an S, keeps it kind of simple. I'm not sure what to say about them. Would they have been as big of a hit in North America if it wasn't for the video? It's a good song. It's a good song. It's not a great song, but it was a killer video at the time, right? It was very new and fresh and different for the time frame. And it's like, here, MTV, play the shit out of this. Okay, thanks very much. We will, right? So, but this is a good album. And they are from, where are they from? Are they from Norway? I can't remember where they're from. I'll look it up. Daryl, while you go, because it looks like you're ready with something from an S.
Hey, did you guys see did you see the Aha? Like, I guess they've been on tour. They never went away, maybe? Does anybody?
I don't think they have. No, they
never went away. And they have a new rendition of that hit. Take on Me or whatever.
Me.
They sing it. He sings it with this angelic, the most gorgeous falsetto voice. It's really something to behold. I go find new version of Take on Me and you see this like sea of women in the audience who are just like all totally melting at it, like every inflection of every note. It's pretty touching.
Well, the lead singer, Morton, I think his name's Morton Hackett or Morton Harkett, something like that. Anyway, he's now like he's been one of the main judges on The Voice of Norway for like, and he's really good with like the talent that's on there. He's still got it, man. And he just seems like a genuinely really nice guy. And for some reason, like I just can't get into The Voice USA, and when Canada had their voice, like I just couldn't get into it because it's like they only wanted singers that would cover like Britney Spears and stuff like that. Whereas you look at The Voice of Norway, and I was watching The Voice of Germany, and some guy on The Voice of Germany did Eminem's it's one of his more recent songs, and he's just like F-bombing on national television. And in Germany, they don't even care because it doesn't mean anything. And the guy's just going to town. It's just so cool, the music that they do in Europe on The Voice. But like I said, I mean, the guy from Aha still performing, still touring, and he's a judge on The Voice, and he just seems like a genuinely cool guy. So I'd like to meet him.
Before you get started, Daryl, just a couple comments I want to catch up on. An update for anyone who just did that Jeffrey Lewis Bad Writing album about the guy with the LP disease. You can buy directly from the man himself on Bandcamp for $19.99 plus shipping. So thanks, Richard, for checking that out. And I mean, Joe's the expert on this, but I'll answer the question. John's just being a shit disturber, wanting to know why Bryan Adams is re-recording his songs as crappy classic versions. They're not crappy. They sound better than the originals in most cases, I think, because I own the Classics album. It's because he is out on his own label now, and he does not have the masters, so he's doing a Taylor Swift. And more power to him. He's taking back ownership of his music. So any artist that wants to do that, I'm all for it. So there you go.
And I just wanted to point out this one also available on cassette.
Nice.
That's a bad word. Don't say that.
Sorry.
Where are we down on cassettes? I didn't catch that memo. Has that been a reoccurring theme?
Because cassettes suck.
Oh, that hurts.
We have a few running jokes here. One of them is cassettes suck, and the other is Joe really loves Bryan Adams.
And Blue Rodeo is one as well, right?
Speaking of music talk, I think this all came about on that show that we showed off the rest of our collection, and he showed us like 30 cassette tapes of Billy Joel.
I know.
I think that's what it was.
So take John's opinion with not a grain of salt, like a wheelbarrow full of salt. So. And no, I haven't mentioned Blue Rodeo yet tonight. I could have, but I get so much slagged, especially from people like Richard, even though he's a fan now. So I try not to mention it. Okay, Daryl, what you got for?
Well, what I'm going to do, Rob, I'm going to make it easy for you. Because you're only going to get one choice of a letter like I did. You're getting the letter N. For this one.
Okay.
So Joe gave me S. So I'm going to show everybody's favorite 80s band, Starship, and No Protection. So this is not knee deep in the hoopla, because that would be Jefferson Starship, I think. I think that's what they were going by. But this is the one that spawned their other, we might even call it a ballad with Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now on it. And the inner sleeve with there she is, Grace Slick and the band, their 80s style. And they got really creative on this one. And they went pink on the backside. So there you go. I love this album. I know they had a second hit, kind of a minor hit with It's Not Over Till It's Over. I think it's got one of the coolest drum intros of the 80s on that song, but I don't know. Everybody shits on Starship in the 80s. We've talked about this a couple times on the show. Me and Rob, we got no problem with We Built This City.
I love that song.
I did too, Rob. I did too.
Love it.
Now, what are your thoughts on? Because the big hit on this one, Rob, is Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. That was like it's a great track, and like I said, you missed this, but the inner sleeve with the band on it, that's Grace Slick in the 80s. It's too bad. I mean, she's I mean, obviously she's in her 80s now, but I mean, she hasn't been doing music for a long time, I don't think.
See you later, Keith. Thanks for joining us, man.
Dad life.
Yeah, I think Grace Slick is out of the music business altogether now, I think.
Oh, yeah. She's been for ages.
Yeah, I mean, if you like 80s, just, I don't want to call it cheesy, but that No Protection album, I mean, you're pretty much going to know whether you're going to like this or not just by what it looks like. I mean, that and the pink background and, you know, I mean, obviously they're not in their surrealistic Pillow days, but I mean, I could see the band still smoking a little whatever while they were doing that. And
they evolved people evolve. Right. And I mean, any band that gets shit on, that's a signal for me to check them out.
For sure.
You know, I think I like shat on bands. Being a giant fish head, I often am, you know, I'm okay with it. Over the years I've hardened up, and yeah.
There's no doubt that you can like they're one of those bands that if you listen to them from Surrealistic Pillow to Knee Deep in the Hoopla, like there are definitely different styles of that band, how they evolved along the way. Like they're not just a one and done monotone type band. They definitely have some different stuff along the way.
I've never understood why that song gets all the flack for being the worst song ever. Is it White Rabbit? No, but who gives a shit? Some people enjoy listening to We Built the City. I'm one of them. I think it's great. So good on Jefferson for.
It's kind of like crapping on Billy Squier because he made one bad music video, but the song is really good. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it.
There's only one band that deserves to be shit on and shit on hard and regularly, and that's Nickelback.
Oh, even poor Nickelback, they deserve. They've paid their dues.
No,
I think they have.
No.
Poor Nickelback. I want to. I need to give Nickelback a fair shake. Nickelback kind of came after I was. Yeah. Okay. No.
The only shake they deserve is when you're finished peeing. That's it.
Oh man,
that's
no love for Nickelback here.
No, and they're a Canadian band, and we're.
I know. I'm like, why are you shitting? They're probably in your neck of the woods too.
Screw
I don't have a problem with Nickelback.
Joe, you're off the stream.
We can't lump me in here. I hate We Built This City, and I don't have a problem with Nickelback. So there you go. There's the opposing.
We were friends, Joe.
Fair and balanced.
I know. I'm good with Jefferson Starship and Starship Airplane and Starship whatever the hell. Right up until the album before, which had Jane on it. I'm good with all of that. But it goes back to the Bryan Adams thing. We Built This City got played at nauseum. It's like Starship owned the goddamn radio stations, and they just were forced to play their song every hour on the hour all the time.
Their crime is for being hated is they made too good of a song. That's essentially their crime.
But yeah. Okay, whose turn?
It's my turn.
Okay.
Okay, where are we here? Let's get that off the screen. Okay, I know you said you made it easy for me, Darryl, but I only have four records that would fit the N category, and it's only two artists. So we're gonna go this one. We're gonna go No Doubt, but I'm not going to show Tragic Kingdom. I'm going to show the follow-up, Return of Saturn. Do I have Tragic Kingdom? Of course I do. It's the best. This is almost as good, actually, but I don't know that it really ever gets much love. I think the only single off of here was Ex-Girlfriend, I think, and maybe Simple Kind of Life might have been a single too. But I think this is a very enjoyable record. Did the stuff that come after this any good? No, I think was it Rocksteady? That was garbage. Just my personal opinion. So there's only two No Doubt albums I like: Tragic Kingdom and Return of Saturn. So. We're going to go with that for the letter N. So that leaves Brian.
You watched Joe come out with or one of these guys come out with a Nickelback album on this one.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Oh, don't you dare, Joe.
I'm having to reach here. I could go for Rolling Stones or
I'm going to do a couple of comments here while you're looking here. So, Grace Slick did endorse Kathy Richardson to be the female singer in Jefferson Starship now. Swangers Turntable, how you doing? Welcome. Oh, there's Curtis. How you doing, Curtis?
Curtis. I heard Curtis is joining us for a game show tonight.
Curtis is going to be on the game show later. That's right, coming up in an hour and 25 minutes.
It better not be rigged like the last one was, because I lost, and that's the only explanation, was that it was rigged.
Okay.
You wanted to end Ken Jennings' run. That's all I can say.
So I will give the modicum of props to We Built This City, as Tim is telling me that Bernie Taupin had something to do with it. So I will give it a little bit of credence.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
That's good. Well, this one should really get me thrown under the bus. Deservedly, maybe. I had an R or an N, and I think I'm going to go. I only have one other artist that's an N, I think, besides Nico. But I'll give you the reason why I'm choosing Nina from Germany and 99 Luftballons. Do you guys know this tune?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows this tune, right? So, and this kind of speaks to the Kyle from Stax Records that we were talking about earlier. Like Nena famously did the song in German, a German pop group as schmaltzy and sugary and poppy as they come, I think. I don't really know anything else besides that one tune. And but this song is a huge hit at karaoke. When we go to karaoke, if we have one German amongst us, the song that they always reach for reluctantly often is 99 Luftballons. And if it's a big crew of people, the whole audience blows up and it's a really good time. And I have I've been fortunate enough to visit. I've forged some nice connections with the German embassy here and some German community here. And I don't know, maybe Japan and Germany, like there's something, we won't go too deep into it, but there's something kind of about, German engineering and German automotive things and tools. And, there's that kind of connection. And like I said, I have a bunch of German friends here, and anytime we go, this is like a guilty pleasure that we throw on, and it's just so fun. And it's actually like kind of a great tune. It's another one of these, like, We Built This City. It probably got played to death. And but she's so cute and she's so lovely, and she's like, I've seen her playing enormous arenas with like huge 80,000 people audiences all singing along. So I think it's a testament to the enduring spirit and goodness of that song.
It is hard to believe. It's hard to believe that song was like a protest song about the Cold War or whatever it was.
Tell us, yes, please, please tell us more. I want to hear about what is it about? I didn't know that. That's interesting. I think I've heard that. But
I think it's a protest song about the Cold War. It's almost like the whole idea of like dropping nuclear weapons or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And she did an English version, 99 Red Balloons, to kind of cater to North Americans because they didn't really understand the German lyrics, which I think bastardized the whole song. I mean, the English version of that song is horrible. I'd rather listen to the German version.
Okay, interesting. Hold on, there's a comment here. Yes, Germany and Japan were okay. No, here we go. I that makes sense. I mean, yeah, the Hong Kong guys, they were just kind of protesting against like the handing back of Hong Kong to China from the British, and it was, they have the yellow balloon revolution, and I think the Egyptians had the green thing. I wonder if the red balloons had I wonder if that was like, I wonder how, I should read up about that. Thanks for turning me on to that. I did not know that. I will definitely look that up now, and maybe I'll come to appreciate the song even more. I should spin it out once. I should bring it, and like, I'm sure it's a crowd pleaser. I'm sure if you played it at a cafe or a bar or something, like, it would perk a lot of ears up.
Yeah, it's just
okay. So sorry. You got 99 Luftballons. So you've got 9 again. There's another 9 or a 99, and also an S.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I had, but I can't find it. I thought I had the band 9 Pound Hammer, which would have worked because I know that they actually used the 9 in it, and I'm sure there's other ones. But what I have. Let's see here. I thought I had it, but I do not. I'm going to go with, and Richard, if you're still here, I think this will be one that you'll be familiar with. And actually, everybody, maybe the Stranglers. I'm not sure if the Stranglers and the Skin Deep was the big song off of this one, but great album, a couple albums. Actually, I think they probably had more than a couple, but just kind of that not industrial. That's not the right way to put it. New wave-ish, we'll call it 80s stuff, a little heavier new wave than what I would consider new wave, if that makes sense, but just really good stuff. And it's called Oral Sculpture, Daryl. So you've got an A or an E, Oral Sculpture. But see, there you go. Richard, I was pretty sure that you would be familiar with these guys. I've only got a couple of theirs, but good stuff. I don't know, and maybe you do, Richard. I don't think that they're still going. I think you've talked about them before, but Hugh Cornwell, J.J. Burnell, Dave Greenfeld, and Jet Black on the drums. So I don't know if that's a given name or not, but if not, it is possibly one of the coolest drummer names out there, Jet Black. So there you go. Oral Sculpture by the Stranglers. Like I said, I've only got a couple of them, and I don't believe that they're still going, but again, I could be wrong because Mick Jones is still going, so the Sex Pistols are kind of still going if you want them to be going or whatever. So it just depends, I guess, if there's a couple left. I am of the camp where I'm not positive I'm completely of the camp, but I think you've got to have your lead singer or you've got to be the lead singer. I don't know if you have just the bass player if you're that band anymore. And I know that's a little bit of a controversy out there. I know that band names have been passed down to sons. Right, Rob, we were talking about this, I think, right?
And I forget what it is, but there's a name. There's an argument in philosophy, and I forget what it is, but it's at what point when you replace all of it, it's about a ship, and it's if you replace one board at a time till you have replaced every single board in the ship, is it still the original ship? And I can't remember what that. I don't know if it's a paradox or whatever, but that's essentially the same thing. At what point is the band still the band?
Yeah. And I mean, we did a show about guys that have replaced other guys, and AC/DC. Do you argue that it's not AC/DC anymore after Bon Scott passes away? But, especially these days and some of the age of some of the guys, like I saw the Sweet a few years ago, and they were fantastic. And the guy that was the lead singer was great, but it was just the bass player was the original guy from the Sweet, who really just played bass. He wasn't a big integral part. He wasn't the lead singer. He wasn't the lead guitar player. Don't shit on me, bass players, because I'm not saying that you're not important. He wasn't Flea. There's an important bass player, but it's tough. And I know, and it's fine if you want to call yourself Trooper as an example, but there is nobody left in Trooper. Right. I think it's one of their sons continues on with the name. And I don't know if at any point you're ripping someone off by saying you're Trooper, but then you're not really Trooper because
it's the whole Guess Who thing from last year.
Sure. Right? Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. And if someone's going to go see Trooper because they know Trooper from before, it's not just because it's a party and they're going to go. I don't know if that matters to them or not, if it's just the songs. Like there's cover bands, but they don't call themselves Trooper. They call themselves the Fab Four instead of being the Beatles, right? They call themselves whatever. So anyway, that's a whole discussion for a different time. And Daryl's back because he found something, so I can shut the hell up now.
It is called the Ship of Theseus, or the Theseus Paradox. And it raises the philosophical question of whether an object that has had all of its components replaced remains fundamentally the same object. And that is what we're talking about with bands. So there you go.
All right.
Today's takeaway.
I don't know shit about philosophy. I have a history degree. So what the hell? Daryl.
All right. This one was a little tricky. I was trying to find a band or a singer with the last name A that would make sense, but I wanted to avoid giving Rob the same letters we've had before, so I wanted to change it up. So I went with an E band this time, and it is the duo of Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart and Eurythmics. It's the only Eurythmics album I have, and that is the album Touch. So a T or an H. And this is the one that has Here Comes the Rain Again, which is a great track. I really dig the Eurythmics, and I don't know why I don't have more of them. in my collection. I also like Annie Lennox when she went solo, Walking on Broken Glass and stuff like that. I mean, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, my mom used to play that all the time. I hated it then, but I've really grown kind of a liking to Eurythmics and Dave Stewart. I don't think there was another hit on this album, although there is a cool name for a song on here. No Fear, No Hate, No Pain, No Broken Hearts. That's a side B track. But she was always kind of quirky, the looking at her with that mask and the orange red hair and stuff like that. And then of course there's Dave Stewart there in the middle. It's kind of a beat up inner sleeve I've got here, but I mean they're kind of that band that, we've talked about a few other ones that took over the radio, but they had some great hits in the 80s that weren't overplayed, and I think that's why maybe they're not as known. And if I ever get a chance, there's another thread that was going around about women singers and stuff like that. It's definitely one that I would show as Annie Lennox. She's quirky, but she's got some great stuff. And like I said, this is a great album. Here Comes the Rain Again is a great song. I don't want to ramble on too much more about the Eurythmics, but
she's an icon.
I appreciate them and what they brought to the table in the 80s.
Yeah, and Stewart's been on a lot of other albums as well. I think he's collaborated with a lot of people and done a lot of other things as well. And Annie's voice is fantastic. Like it's, those number of octaves if she wants it to be, and then it's also nice down low and kind of growly if you want as well. So yeah. I'm a big fan of the Eurythmics. Always have been. Really good stuff.
Like I think my favorite song by Annie Lennox, as cheesy as it is, I think No More I Love Yous is probably my favorite by her. Walking on Broken Glass isn't too bad, but just quirky stuff, just quirky, and that I think that's what makes it neat. It's not the same old. I mean, as much as I like, Lady Gaga and stuff like that, I think some of it's just repetitive, right? It's the same, and I think that Annie Lennox and Eurythmics and a lot of those other bands did different stuff. Yeah.
I saw a performance just not that long ago of, it must have been like a Freddie Mercury memorial thing. It was probably in the 80s, or I don't know when Freddie passed, but I think Bowie and Annie Lennox are on stage doing a Queen tune, and man, talk about charisma. She's stealing this show from David Bowie, and she gives a performance that is just, not everybody has that kind of, not everybody has that gift. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she did. I think she did Freddie's part in Under Pressure, didn't she? I believe.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Real. And that part is like it's got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and she just nails it. And I think there's even a couple moments where Bowie's like looking over there being like, it's one of those, remember in the last waltz when they're singing, I think Helpless or I Shall Be Released, and Neil Young's he's of course really high, but he's like, I can't believe what's happening here. I can't believe all these people are on stage.
Yeah.
It's like David Bowie's having a moment, looking at Annie Lennox, where he's like, dang, I guess, yeah, all right, something special is happening. Very, very cool. You're inspiring me to add some Eurythmics. What a great band name too, Eurythmics. Killer name, and not so many E's. I don't think I have. I've got an Echo in the bunch. I think that's about it. Eminem maybe. But nice.
Why is it? Why by Annie Lennox? No, John, that's a great song.
Okay. So what were my letters, Daryl? T or H, right?
T or H.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can't give me the letter H and I not show my fantasy wife, Susanna Hoffs from the Bengals.
Okay.
Isn't she gorgeous? But this is not the record I'm going to show. But I can cheat.
That's not why we called you here.
I can cheat because it's my show. I'm going to show this instead, because this is a band no one's heard of, and people should hear of them. This is a Toronto band called The Heartbroken, and they
Dude, you gave me a T and an N again. You've given me like 3 T's and N's in a row. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna bend the rules. Sorry to keep going.
S and an S.
Storm Clouds is the name of the band or the name of the album?
No, the album is Storm Clouds. The band is the Heartbroken.
Okay, go for it.
You got an S.
I'll take it.
I'll
take it.
So I love the Heartbroken. This is their second album from 2016. They had an album before this, back in like 2009. And they're a group that gets together every once in a while because they all have their own solo careers. And it's fronted by this lady right here, Davnit Doyle, who was a great singer-songwriter, has been making music for 20 some odd years. And God damn it, my Habs just lost.
He's done. He's out. He's done. He's back to the Jays.
All right. Anyway, she's now a host on CBC Radio, but a great singer-songwriter in her own right. And this is a fantastic album. It's just like a sort of contemporary rock kind of record, adult contemporary rock, I guess. But I really, really enjoy it. Her voice is, when I say one of those voices, you know what I mean by that, right? Just one of those voices. So I love her solo stuff too, but the stuff with the Heartbroken is even better. This is the only Heartbroken album on vinyl, and good luck trying to find it because they self-released this 9 years ago. So you're not going to find it. It's a Toronto band no one gives a shit about, but I'm sure you can stream it, and it's really, 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 really good.
I heard Grace Potter going on about her love for Tom Petty on Tom Petty's Sirius channel yesterday. I can't remember which song specifically she was talking about, but a big influence on Grace Potter. And back to the Nocturnals days, I would imagine more. I mean, her as well, clearly.
Speaking of Grace Potter, so she's putting out a new old album next month or month after that. She recorded an album with T-Bone Burnett, a solo album, not with the Nocturnals, but it was like 15 years ago and it was never released. Well, they're finally putting it out, so I'm going to buy it.
That T-Bone Burnett kid, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, he's all right.
Curtis, I don't even think it's going to happen next year, man. It's just, we suck. Damn it. Okay. Brian, I'm going to just cry all about my hockey team.
Am I on? I'm having to do multitask here. Can you guys see me?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, I'm looking at a Google page here, so I can kind of keep up with it. I'm just pulling something randomly that I haven't actually listened to. I think I listened to this record once every. Where did you guys go? Just a second. Where did you guys go? Let me find you guys. There you are. How do I get out of this? Okay. Yeah, it's Soledad Brothers. You guys, anybody know Soledad Brothers? This was something I really don't know exactly what this is. This was a sort of a blind buy that I made probably in like 1997 or 2001, or I don't remember when it was, but I think I read about them in a magazine. And boy, I'm going to really box this one, but the Soledad Brothers were a phenomenon. I'm going to read about the Soledad. There's an actual a trio of black inmates: George Jackson, Fleeta Drumgo, and John Clutchette, who were incarcerated at Soledad State Prison in California. They became widely known for being charged with the murder of prison guard John Vincent Mills in 1970. So this is not them, but this is a band that's named after these guys. While Jackson was later killed in prison, Drumungo and Clutchette were acquitted by a jury. The case garnered significant attention as a leftist issue, and sparked protests and debates about prison conditions in the justice system. So these guys were, they wanted to make a statement with their band name. And let me read you just a little bit about the band. We're an American garage band trio from Maumee, Ohio, taking strong influence from blues rock. The band consisted of Ben Swank on drums, Johnny Walker on guitar, and vocals, and Oliver Henry from the Greenhorns. Okay, so I think this might have been like their one and only record, and they're kind of in the vein of like they came out like with the like two piece, and it was like the White Stripes and the Black Keys, and Who else would have been, it's a lo-fi garagey blues band that I think is not that listenable, to be honest. I've given this thing like I really want to love this record, but I think I keep listening to it waiting to fall in love with it, and I haven't quite in years, but it looks just so cool, and it sounds like the concept behind it sounds so cool, and I want it to be like everything that I think it should be, and yet I'm still learning this one. The same way I was talking about that Lincoln record that They Might Be Giants, how I had to learn to grow to love it. It's taken me 25, 30 years, and I'm in a continual state of trying to love and appreciate this more and more. The Soledad Brothers, self-titled. So that's an S and an S. Ha ha! I passed on the S and S.
I can do S.
Do we want? Let's go around one more time because we'll go one more and then we'll wrap it up because Joe's show starts in an hour. So
yeah.
All right, Joe, what do you got?
All right, I've got an album by a band that you just got one of their albums and it sucks, but I've got the good album that I'm going to show, and that's Sweeney Todd. But this is the Nick Gilder version of Sweeney Todd, not the Bryan Adams. And that's not why that album sucks. It's not Brian's fault. It's just not a very good album. It's just not a good album. Exactly. But Canadian band out of Vancouver, I'm going to say probably Vancouver, if not West Coast anyway. But Roxy Roller, everybody knows that one. Nick Gilder still performing. I'm not sure how much of Sweeney Todd, if anything, is still out there, but he had Roxy Roller and he had some other songs. He wrote "The Warrior" by
Hot Child in the
Scandal.
City when he went solo.
Hot Child in the City, exactly. So good stuff, and a good album as well. Just good keyboard, not oriented rock, but it's definitely in there, and just good 70s Canadian rock. If you were a kid growing up in Canada in the 70s, you were looking for the bubble gum under your seat every time you went to the movie. So go ahead.
If you don't hear Roxy Roller and Sweeney Todd at the strip club, it's been a bad night.
Then you were at the wrong strip club. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So it's self-titled, so you've got an S, or more so, Daryl, you've got a D. I tried to find something to mix it up a little bit because we end up on S a lot, but D, does that work?
I got the double D. The double D, I can go for that, yeah.
All right, okay, then go for the D. So yeah, it's good stuff. I don't think there was any really other hits on here, but it was definitely and easy to call Sweeney Todd one-hit wonders, not Nick Gilder per se, but Sweeney Todd for sure. But he still sounds really good too. Not quite the vocals that he used to have back in the day, but he still sounds pretty good. Definitely one of those singers, kind of, where you hear it for the first time and go, "Oh, I wonder what she looks like."
Exactly.
But, right? It's just. It's just the way it was, and he made it work for him. So he also wrote Rated X by Pat Benatar on her second, I think, album, Rated X. Yeah, so it's good. When you go see him, he does Warrior and does a really good job, and he does Rated X. So, and there was some other song. It was like I did not think he was part of that, but he was. So it just escapes me at the moment. But Sweeney Todd, good stuff. That's okay, Twangers. We knew what you meant.
Exactly.
All right. I'm not sure. He said something about double D's. I don't know where we're going, but he's back. So let's see.
Well, double D's. Here we go. I got double D's. And Joe, you showed this a couple weeks ago, I think. It's a 12-inch single, pretty much, and it's just one of those. What do you call it? Like parody kind of I don't know what you call those. Anyway, double D. It's Dr. Dave and Vanna. Pick me a letter.
Yeah.
So you got a V and an R, Rob.
Oh boy.
V and an R. But I remember my dad playing this when I was a kid. It's just the cheesiest song, but it's what do you call that? Like a parody or a novelty song? That's what it is.
No, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's basically a knockoff of the box tops of the letter. But yeah, I mean, it's just the cheesy band thinking that they're like some tough biker gang, and it's just a funny, I don't know, just a funny track.
It was perfect for.
I thought I would show that Double D's. I got Dr. Dave.
It was perfect for morning radio, right? It was one of those where they could play it a couple times every morning, once at 6 and then once again at 8, and just play the hell out of it every morning for a month or two, and then we all got sick of it. But it was fun for sure. So
what's even more funny is I never even noticed this on the back side of the cover. It's the biker guys playing a board game of Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, they're playing the home version of Wheel of Fortune. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, it's just so funny. It is this cheesy novelty song. But if you haven't heard it, check it out. I mean, really, there's not much you can say about it other than it's just a cheap 80s novelty song, kind of a knockoff of the Box Tops. But I don't know. I think it's funny. And because I wanted to show some Double D's, I went with Dr. Dave.
Okay.
Nice.
So I had what? I had R and V, right?
And V. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go this way, right, Daryl?
Do that. Yeah, you could do that.
I could. But I won't.
Nice.
We'll go this way instead. Daniel Romano. This sounds exactly like it looks.
Yeah.
And it's fucking terrible.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's terrible. So, Daniel Romano, he's a bit of a chameleon. He's from Welland, Ontario. He was in a rock band called Attack in Black. They were good. And then he went solo as the Daniel Romano outfit, and he went through a very country phase, wearing the nudie suits, singing like 1950s country. And it is bad. Bad. And I've seen him live. I saw him open for Whitehorse. Me and my buddy Brian saw him. And it was so bad that we bought the record, because there's a song in here called I'm Not Crying Over You. Look it up on YouTube. You'll understand. It's bad. And so my buddy Brian is a bit of a musician. He would do open mics all the time. And every time you do an open mic, he would do this song, and him and I would do it. And it's horrible. And then Daniel went on to he's put out like 20 albums, and he's doing rock music now. And his rock music is great. His country stuff, bad. So bad. So bad.
You have to think that is a nudie suit, or it's a very good knockoff.
No,
right?
it's a real nudie suit.
Is it? Yeah, right on. That's good.
Oh yeah. And when I saw him, he was wearing it, and he had it was just him and a pedal steel player, and pedal steel player was a very good pedal steel player, but it's horrible. But I have it because of the memories of that. Like me and my buddy Brian having seen him and just thought it was the best thing in the world because it was so bad. And the 36 times my buddy did it at an open mic night, and it was great. So it was great in its badness. So Come Cry With Me. So that's a C or an E.
So I my Porsche, my Lego Porsche was a casualty of looking for this record.
Oh no.
Unfortunately. My little guy fell off my shelf. I'll have to rebuild him later today. Okay, I was considering going with Julian Casablancas, but it's a little bit too obscure. From the Strokes, great solo record. But I'm going to go with Hometown Hero, J.J. Cale. I think that one will land with this audience a little bit harder. Being from Tulsa, we are very proud of J.J. Cale. J.J. Cale is part of what became the Tulsa sound. If you've ever heard of that, okay, like maybe every town has its sound, but I think there is an established thing called the Tulsa sound, which has to do with this laid back train thumping groove that has this kind of like country Western, but also rock sensibilities, not rockabilly, but it's got this like new, I don't even know how to explain it exactly. Anybody know how to explain the Tulsa sound? J.J. Cale is the Tulsa sound. It's cocaine. It's when I say cocaine, I mean the Eric Clapton song, not the actual, although there was both of that. There was both the song and the actual illicit substance, lots of it in Tulsa. But Tulsa's got like a little bit of it's off the beaten path. It's well to do. It's both prosperous and broken, and it has a history that's both like aspirational and dark, and there's some tragedies that happen there, and it's got everything in it. And what emerged from it in the 70s was this really cool, groovy music scene that sort of was taught to LA. I mean, when I say taught, I mean like TAUT. There was an umbilical cord that went from Route 66 is born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wade Phillips, the big oil baron who was behind the Phillips 66, gasoline and oil empire. Imagine this road going from Chicago to Los Angeles. And the highway, interstate system was Tulsa and the oil boom that happened in Tulsa. That's where that idea sprung from. And so because of that road to get you to LA, it was Leon Russell and J.J. Cale who found their way westward. But they always kept coming back and forth between Tulsa and LA. And I think people had, Hollywood aspirations and musical aspirations and the country and Western thing that was like before even our time or our parents' time, or maybe even before some of our grandparents' time. Some of those heroes came from Tulsa, and J.J. Cale is the modern-ish hero, even though he's passed away now. This record, Okie, is a really killer one. The side two, track one, Cajun Moon, is one to go stream. And if you love that tune, which I'm almost guarantee you will, you'll want to add some JJ Cale to your collection. So I'm very honored to get to share a little bit of my hometown, a little bit of Canada roots, a little bit of Tulsa roots, a little bit of Boulder. I saw somebody mention Boulder. They saw Annie Lennox in Boulder. I spent 10 years in Boulder. And yeah, so happy to share a little bit of Tulsa with you guys.
It's like the Bakersfield. It's like the Bakersfield sound, right? Buck Owens
yes, exactly.
It's like that. There's certain artists that come from and they build up, and then there's others that are inspired by them, and it becomes a sound in a certain place. I mean, Motown. I think Motown. It drew everybody there, but things like Bakersfield, things like Oklahoma, and that I think. It started and then it drew others there, and it grew as well. So yeah, it's good stuff. Really good. I like Grasshopper as well. That's a very good album too. So
okay, Grasshopper. That's the one with the raccoon on the cover of it, maybe. Anyway, I got a few of them. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, JJ Cale, hometown hero.
Good stuff.
Hey guys, man, listen, that was awesome. I had a lot of fun. This was a real great treat to hang out with you guys. I love the show. It's been so fun tuning in over the last couple months and getting to know you guys. And this was a thrill to be able to come and hang out with you, Daryl and Joe and Rob. Really thank you for the opportunity. This was a lot of fun.
My pleasure, man. You're welcome back anytime. Do you want to plug your channel at all and let folks know anything?
I would love to do that. I'm Tokyo Record Style. I'm a 20-year resident in Tokyo, and I basically run around Tokyo and I photograph people on the streets of Tokyo with their recent record store purchases. If I see them on the streets carrying like a Disc Union or a Tower Records bag, I say, "Hey, did you score some records? You got a couple minutes to chat about music?" And they say, okay, suspiciously. And then they warm up. And next thing you know, we've forged a connection over music. And it's a really interesting way to discover new music. I'm calling it the human algorithm. And I'm discovering that like another way to appreciate music isn't just like going down rabbit holes of music, but actually through people. I don't actually have to appreciate the music to enjoy it. I can appreciate the person that it connects me to by listening to music. It's a little bit hard to articulate, but it's a really fun thing, and it's turned into a YouTube channel. And I run around record stores and I do things like that. So, and my daughter is giving me the side eye, saying, "Let's go. We have to go, or I'm going to be late." So thank you. I'm going to jump off, and I'm going to jump really off, and I'm going to let you guys do the sign off. Okay. But I'm looking forward to the next chance. Give it a couple months, or if you'll welcome me back, I'd love to come.
Anytime you want, Brian, you got me email. You know how to connect with me.
For sure.
All right. Cheers. All right. So long for now, guys. Sorry to dash off.
Brian, that was fun.
All right. Take care. Awesome.
Well, that was fun, guys, and we did it without breaking the chain.
We did, exactly. And I've only got this many records to put away, too.
I know, that's a lot better. That's a lot better.
It's good.
Well, even though Brian's gone, we always do go around the horn. Daryl, what's going on in your world?
So this week I finally got it. I know that I've been saying this before, but Joe, that you didn't call it a thread, but basically seven albums that you've kind of grown to appreciate more. I forget what you called that. I have my list. I've just got to pull the albums out, and I'm going to try to get a video done by the weekend because I really want to do that one. And the only other thing going on in my life right now is just it's now indoor soccer season up here. And so last week I mentioned that my youngest kid scored his first ever goal, which was great. But my second youngest scored 4 goals yesterday in his game, and he's super over the top athletic. He's the one that plays hockey and all that stuff. So he got that. And then at my high school, it's high school league as well, but teachers play in the league, and I play goalie. I've been playing goalie in that league for 18 years, and I am 2-0-1 as a 46-year-old goaltender.
Well done, sir.
Can't go wrong with that against high school kids.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. So yeah, no, I don't have too much to plug on my channel. I mean, I did a video there late last week. Well, that's about it. It's been a little slow going because it's busy here.
Good. Joe, we got your show coming up in 50 minutes, but what else is going on at Racer Records or on the vinyl?
Yeah, Racer Records has been a little quiet as of late, other than the replays of the game show. It's just been crazy around here, so I haven't had a chance to get to too much. Plan for the Wednesday nights, and that's about it. And the store's good. I've got something a little different planned for the store. I try and do my 12 things that don't belong here stuff and things like that, which I know applies really mostly to people that are in Regina because we don't ship stuff much. But anyway, so that's coming up. And yeah, as you said, in 50 minutes on my channel, it is Racer Records track test. We've got 2 returning champions and a new up-and-comer. And I've even thrown in a little different type of a question for the contestants tonight. So it should be interesting. And we'll see if it's fixed or not. Depends.
Well, right? if I lose, it was fixed. Who do I sound like? I know my skin's not orange enough, but as for me, well, let's see. Sunday's video was what was it? It was 10 albums that I'm always in the mood for, and I was kind of inspired by Robert's on My Turntable, another VC friend that lives a couple hours down the road. He did that. Well, that's a great topic. Not necessarily my favorite albums, but the albums that I'm always in the mood to listen to. That was a fun one to make. Nobody watched it, but it was a fun one to make. And the week before, my Record Store Day video, I Don't Like Record Store Day, that thing took off like a rocket and had like 2,200 views in like 4 days. It was great. So yeah, this Sunday's video is going to be tentatively, it's sort of how am I doing with my New Year's resolution, because I said at the beginning of the year, I gotta step off the gas when it comes to buying records. I'm not buying any used records. I'm not buying any new stuff unless it's something I absolutely have to have. And I might concentrate on 1 or 2 of my sort of grails. So, we're 4 months into the year. How am I doing with that? That's going to be the video. So the punchline is, except for 1 week, I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
There was 1 week where
you might get a couple next week too. We'll see. I think you should. Anyway,
keep me posted. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Join Daryl, myself, Joe, and can we say who the other contestant is?
Yeah, we can say it's Curtis. Yeah,
Curtis from Young LP Lovers. Join us over at Racer Records at the top of the hour. I'm going to win the game show again and claim my title back. So
remember, it is only a demonstration, no wagering.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I still have not received any winnings. So
yeah. Okay.
It will be fun. It will be fun.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. That was a blast, as always. For those watching, thank you very much for tuning in. We love interacting with you. For those that are going to watch this later, Thanks for spending a few hours with us. We will be back next week with something equally as amateur produced as what this is. So have a good night, everybody, and we will see you next week.